All right, what's good? 25 to Life Testimony TV. We're starting a new series. This is our crime courtroom series with the real live courtroom testimony. Shout out to Crown TV. Now, we're going to be doing reaction videos to these live courtroom testimonies of these snitches. Like, crime don't pay. This is insanely crazy. So we starting this one off with the CMB Cash Money Brothers. Shout out Lafayette Gardens, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn in the building. The World Hardy and their whole crew. All right, here we go.
ASHABUDEEN SAKOOR, number 17 on your list. Good afternoon, Mr. SAKOOR. Ask you to please stand and raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth? Yes. Please state and spell your name. ASHABUDEEN SAKOOR, ASHABUDEEN. Last name is SAKOOR. ASHABUDEEN SAKOOR, called as a witness by the government, having been first duly sworn, was examined and testified as follows. Your witness. Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. SAKOOR. Can you tell the jury how old you are? I am 41 years old. Are you working right now? Yes. What type of work do you do generally? I'm a cell phone repair technician. How long have you been doing that for? 5 years. Have you ever been convicted of a crime? Yes. What type of crime? Assault, criminal sale of controlled substance, and attempted sale of controlled substance. Let me start with conviction. Back in 2007, and that was for criminal sale of controlled substance, is that right? Yes. Can you tell the jury briefly what led up to that? Were you selling drugs at the time? Yes. What types of drugs? Cocaine. And where were you selling drugs? In Queens. How long did you sell drugs for at that time? About 4 or 5 years. And you also have, could we have a beginning and end? 4 or 5 years. Just give us some time when you did this, some time frame. Like from 94 to about 98. Can you just briefly describe how you got involved in selling drugs? In the neighborhood where I used to hang out, I used to go hang out on the street corner, and that's where I picked it up from. What neighborhood is that? Flushing. You also mentioned an attempted criminal sale of controlled substance. Is that from 1998? Yes. Did you serve any jail time for that? Yeah, I think they put it all together as one. You mean both felonies as one? Yes. How much jail time did you serve? 2.5 to 5.
All right, that's called running it concurrent. So when they say they put all the felonies together as one, that's called running your sentences concurrent, or they can do it consecutive. Consecutive means when they run your jail sentences separately. When you get a 2 to 5 here, 4 years here, 3 years here, 7 years here, they run them separately. You have to do all those bits separately. But when they run it concurrent, you run it all concurrent. Now this story is about this brother is this is the trial of DAMION World Hardy. So all these people are testifying against CMB and DAMION. So this shout out to Flushing Meadow, Queens. So he said the year was 2007. Wow, that's crazy. That's when they were sentencing me to 25 to life. Y'all know that from this channel. That was 2007. When I heard that, I'm like, wow, that's when I was going through it too.
Were you selling cocaine again for that conviction? Yes. You also mentioned an assault conviction. Can you briefly describe to the jury what led to that conviction? It was at a club, and some gentleman tried to rob me for my chain and my watch. What did you do? Defending myself, I cut one of them, and I ran a few over with my car. Do you know if they were injured? They got stitches. And you pled guilty to assault in the 2nd degree? Yes. Is that a felony?
Hold up. Let's put that one back a little bit. What did he say?
You also mentioned an assault conviction. Can you briefly describe to the jury what led to that conviction? It was at a club and some gentleman tried to rob me for my chain and my watch. What did you do? Defending myself, I cut one of them and I ran a few over with my car. Do you know if they were injured?
That's what's up. He said he left the club and some of them, they tried to rob him for his chain and his watch. He said he cut one of them. I know that's right. This gym star right here, this is the old trusty. I would keep these in the club. And even when I can't get the whole thing in, you open it up and you take the razor out, and I would have the razor. And I could take the razor and I could have the razor in my hand, and you think I'm punching, but I'm slicing. And these things, these gym stars bust you open. Boom. That's where they get the $1.50. Y'all heard of $1.50? It's the cut from here, from the ear all the way down. That's the Rikers Island thing. It's a New York thing, but we talking a New York story. These things will bust you open. Everywhere that it cuts you, it just busts open like a hot dog. When you boil a hot dog too much, you slice it, that thing pop open, that's what it do. So anywhere it cut. Oh, I was never in the club without something. I used to even sneak a 22 in the Timberlands. We used to have a baby 22 that we used to always get in the club. And if the security was too crazy, then we got those gym stars, or we got a knife. If we can't get the big knife, then I got that gym star. If I can't get the whole case in, then I break the case down and we at least got the razors. If you throw them in your mouth, you could throw them anywhere. I'm getting the razor in no matter what. But I'm never in there empty. So this brother here, he cut one of them and then ran a few over with his car. That part right there made me laugh, because I'm like, they thought it was a game. So apparently he was able to cut one and get in his car, and I guess they still trying to run up on him, and he ran a few over with his car. All right, so let's get back to the story. I just thought that part was kind of funny. Here we go.
It was at a club and some gentleman tried to rob me for my chain and my watch. What did you do? Defending myself, I cut one of them and I ran a few over with my car. Do you know if they were injured? They got stitches. And you pled guilty to assault in the second degree? Yes. Is that a felony? Yes. Did you serve time for that? Yes. Okay, and how much time? That was part of a 2.5 to 5. So that was 2 felonies for the one time in jail, is that right? Yes. Where did you serve that time? Orleans Correctional Facility. Where is that? Albion, New York. Showing you what's already been entered into evidence as government exhibit number 38. Do you recognize that individual? Yes. Who is that? That was Sean. How do you know that person? I was incarcerated with him. At Orleans, is that right? Yes, at Orleans. Did you talk to him during that time? Yes. Would you say you became friendly with him? Yes. While in jail, did you commit any crimes? May have sold a couple of joints of marijuana. You say you might have. You did? Yes. And was Sean involved in that as well? Yes. And during your time in jail, did you talk about your drug business?
Dag, they got him snitching on being in jail and selling weed, selling a couple of joints in jail. They got him snitching on the kitchen sink. He probably snitching on his mama in this one. Boy, I swear, crime don't pay. And that funny part, guys, is these are the thugs. These dudes, y'all gonna hear the other ones where these dudes are straight cold killers, right? Killing people, just killing people left and right. But then they on here snitching, like literally just telling on everybody. I don't even understand it. I really don't understand that. That's why, like, crime don't pay. Y'all might as well get a job.
Joints of marijuana. You say you might have. You did? Yes. And was Sean involved in that as well? Yes. And during your time in jail, did you talk about your drug business? Yes. Just briefly, can you tell us what you talked about with Sean concerning your drug business? What I used to do to make money in the streets before I got arrested? Which was what? We had a service that delivered crack. And by service, what do you mean? You paged us and we delivered it to your house. Was it pretty successful? Yes. Were you also involved in heroin selling as well? No, not before I went to prison. Okay, when did you get out of prison? December 2nd, 2001. And did there come a time when you saw Sean again? Yes. Can you tell the jury what led up to that? He was coming around asking my sister when I was getting out, and then when I got out, I contacted him, and he came around and we started hanging out. Where were you hanging out? He would come to my house. Where was your house at the time? College Point, Queens. Did there come a time when you and Sean entered a drug transaction? Yes. Can you tell the jury what led to that? He asked me if I could help him get some heroin for a friend of his, and I got him 10 grams of heroin. Were you involved in drug selling at that point? Yes. And this would be in early 2002, is that right? Yes. Did you meet anyone else with Sean? The guy that bought the drugs, but I don't remember his name.
All right, so y'all listen clearly. And, well, y'all shouldn't be doing no crime anyway, but anybody that's still trying to be doing some type of drugs and crime, y'all tripping, first of all. But if you find yourself caught up in this situation, the brother went to jail, he's locked up, he met another brother, the brother Sean, and now, they talking, y'all know y'all kicking the Willy Bobo, telling war stories, you know what I mean? So then he connect with Sean. You get a lot of connections in jail. So then Sean asked him if he knows somebody that could get, if he got a heroin connection to get some heroin to sell. And he says he don't, but he know where to get it from. So he hooked him up. He plugged his man, and his man got the heroin for him. Funny thing is, the dude Sean is asking him, could he get heroin for another dude? That's 2 more people involved. You're not even selling heroin, but you about to get some for somebody who wants something for somebody else. That was always a no-no to me. Because first of all, you getting the heroin for that dude when you don't sell it, that means you getting yourself involved with something that you ain't even really making money off. That ain't something you do. So if something go wrong, you getting yourself involved in some drug joint for no reason. Now you don't know if that other person he got with him is the police or snitching like you doing right now. And now you getting yourself, you can get caught up for a heroin sell when you don't even sell heroin. You're just trying to hook somebody up. All those are no-nos. All those are bad. So, and then New York, especially back then, it was mad grimy. Like you had so many wolves ready to eat that you get yourself caught out there, you're going to become food.
Yes. Can you tell the jury what led to that? He asked me if I could help him get some heroin for a friend of his, and I got him 10 grams of heroin. Were you involved in drug selling at that point? Yes. And this would be in early 2002, is that right? Yes. Did you meet anyone else with Sean? The guy that bought the drugs, but I don't remember his name. And were you paid for that, those 10 grams of heroin? Yeah. Do you remember where you provided that to him? Excuse me? Do you remember where you gave that to Sean? I think it was in College Point by my house. He had been to your house, is that right? Yes. Now, at that time, this is early 2002, were you involved in heroin and cocaine or just selling heroin? A little bit of both, And did you mention that to Sean? Yes. Going to direct your attention to July 11th of 2002. What happened to you that day, Mr. SAKOOR? I was kidnapped. Can you tell the jury, first of all, where that occurred? That occurred at a topless bar called Good Vibrations in College Point. What time did you get to the bar that evening? Around 12:30. That would be 12:30 a.m.? 12:30 a.m., yes. Before you got to the club, where were you? Home. Home, College Point? Yes. Do you remember how you got to the club that day? I think a friend of mine's gave me a ride. When you got to that club, did you speak to anyone inside? When I was inside, yeah, I spoke to a couple, an individual. Did you know that person? No. Do you remember what you talked about while you were inside? We were just talking, just basically about the girls on stage and I think shoes, and that's about it. Did there come a point when you left the club? Yes. Can you tell the jury what happened? I borrowed a bouncer's phone and went outside to call a cab and go home, and two gentlemen approached me on both sides with guns out, and they put it to my back and told me to go across the street. This is standing outside the club, is that right? Yes. You said two gentlemen. Had you seen those two individuals before? No. Did they each have a gun? Yes. Did you see the guns? Yes. Can you describe either of them? Just both of them were black. Were they large guns or smaller? They was like handguns about this big. What did you do when they approached? I walked across the street. What did you do? We walked across the street and then the van door opened and there was another gentleman with a machine gun in the back seat.
No. Whoa. First of all, I'm sitting here thinking while you're talking. I don't know, guys. I don't know about that one. I think I'm going to be wet up right there on the street. I always thought about that. Now, when he said a van, I ain't getting in nobody's van. Y'all gonna have to be, I'm gonna be chopped up meat right there on the street. You ain't give me nobody's van to take me somewhere, because they take you somewhere, then they can just torture you and do all that stuff. That's a bad decision for me, because I know myself. I've been in a situation before. I had guns to my head, all that. You ain't taking me nowhere. Facts. And they shot everything. I done got shot, all that. But listen, you tripping. I ain't getting in nobody car, more or less a van. They be telling people, they be trying to put people in the trunk. I ain't getting in no trunk. Y'all tripping. I ain't getting in no trunk. You gonna shoot me, right? Matter of fact, I probably gonna yell, hey! So everybody could come out or something. I don't know. They just gonna have to shoot me. Like when they came up, the two stick the guns to your back, I'm like, oh, crap. So I'm like, all right, first thing I'm thinking like, all right, take it, right? Take whatever you want. Take it, yeah, whatever. Because especially back then, he talking 2001, I was heavy. I was wearing big, crazy stuff, right? So probably a lot of money in my pocket, a Cartier, right? Because I used to rock the Cartier. But I was definitely always heavy back then, right? Now, I wouldn't have been getting no cab, but they would still caught me because back then I had Benz or BM or whatever car I was driving at that time would have been outside because they had a strip club. I wouldn't have been at the strip club, but let's say any other type of club, a neighborhood bar or something, right? I would have came out, they would have called me at my car, right? So same thing with him. They called him trying to call a cab, right? Now, I would have been going out. Of course, they see my car, right? They'd have been trying to gank me, right? Now, they would have got me because they would have had to drop. I don't know. It depends on the scenario, but you could get got. You know what I mean? I got caught out there before. So you could get got. Let's say if they're going to get me, because usually I'll be seeing stuff. I'll be seeing somebody, I'm like, I don't know who they are or whatever. But anyway, let's say they caught me out there. Now they got me, I'm at the car and they're like, don't move. And I'm like, oh man. So I'm like, first thing I'm like, all right, y'all take everything, right? Take the money, take the wells. Know what I mean? I know they probably gonna want my car. That's what I'll be thinking. I know y'all want the car. Take the car, whatever. But they talking about, come with us. Come with y'all where? Right? I'm like, come with y'all where? Come on, cross street. You know, they're trying to push you. I'm like, so I don't know. I might go a little But then I'm be thinking, first of all, I'm looking around, I'm like, dang, it's two of them. That sucks that it's two, because with one, I'm trying to talk them out. I've been in this situation. I'm not talking out of my a-hole. If y'all watch my channel, y'all go back to my earlier videos in the channel when I'm on the streets. I done been in many shootouts. So I done been there. I done had guns to my head and all that. So I already know I don't just freak out. That was some crazy that I used to be. But anyway, I know what I'll be thinking. If it's one, I'm already trying to talk them so I can try to get away so I can fight over the gun, right? But two, you screwed. That's why I'm like, oh, with two of them, they both got guns, that's bad, right? So I probably might start to walk and like, go across the street. First thing I'll be like, where we going? And I see a van over there. Shh. That's when that's just shooting. They gonna have to start shooting Swiss cheese me up. I'm like, I ain't getting to nobody's van. Y'all tripping. And then this fool talking about the van door open and somebody had a AK-47 or something in the van. And you think I'm getting in the van? Both of y'all got guns. This dude got an AK-47 and you think I'm getting in the van. Man, y'all tripping. Dead meat, you're gonna have to shoot me up. I'm going home. I'm going to wherever. Back then I was in my sin. I was probably going to Sheol. But I'm sure enough leaving this earth. I ain't getting in nobody's van. I'm just a little different. All right. I'm quite sure more in the comment section, comment, would you have gotten this van? Y'all think about it. Just think it through. You know yourself. Because it's a life or death decision. A lot of y'all ain't been in there. That's why I don't want y'all to be in that situation. That's why I try to make this testimony channel to try to talk y'all. Don't be doing this stuff, man. This stuff is bad. Selling drugs is some bad stuff. All right, so let's continue. They got this fool, and he about to go get in the van, I guess. Let's see.
Did they each have a gun? Yes. Did you see the guns? Yes. Can you describe either of them? Just both of them were black. Were they large guns or smaller? There was like handguns about this big. What did you do when they approached? I walked across the street. What did you do? We walked across the street and then the van door opened and there was another gentleman with a machine gun in the back seat and they pushed me in the van. I tried to fight them off and I couldn't. And they grabbed me and duct taped my hands and feet and threw me in the van. Now, you said there were two individuals.
Now you Swiss cheese. They duct tape his mouth, his hands, and his feet. Oh, my goodness.
Who first approached you, right? Yes. And there was another person with the gun? It was a driver, and then I think there was one in the back. So how many people in total were in that van? 4, and then a guy from inside came out later. The guy from inside? That I was speaking to, yes. He also entered the van? Yes.
All right, so this is a classic setup. So this is a New York setup. Probably other states too. But this is classic. So he said when he went into the strip club, he was talking to some dude. Just regular talking about the girls and shoes and all this stupid stuff. What they did was they sent that dude after him. That's why he said, do you know the dude? He said, no. So what they did, they knew he frequented this club and they were setting him up. So when he went in there, the dude probably came up to him and just started kicking it to him. Like he got a drink and all that, probably at the bar or something, kicking it about the girls. So they setting him up, all right? So wow. So now it's 3 dudes, now it's 4 dudes, now it's 5 dudes in a van. And you duct tape your mouth. Man, there've been 5 dudes shoot me right on that street. I ain't getting in nobody's van. This crazy. This story here is crazy.
There was like handguns about this big. What did you do when they approached? I walked across the street. What did you do? We walked across the street and then the van door opened and there was another gentleman with a machine gun in the back seat and they pushed me in the van. I tried to fight them off and I couldn't. And they grabbed me and duct taped my hands and feet and threw me in the van. Now, you said there were two individuals who first approached you, right? Yes. And there was another person with the gun? It was a driver, and then I think there was one in the back. So how many people in total were in that van? 4, and then a guy from inside came out later. The guy from inside? That I was speaking to, yes. He also entered the van? Yes. And you said there was a guy holding a machine gun, is that right? Yes. Could you describe that gun? It was like this big black with wood on it, wood grip. About 2 feet? Yeah, it was like an AK-47.
Yeah.
And for the record,
Chopper.
you had about 2 feet up. Was that the length of it, you said? Yeah, about this big. Once you were in the van, you said you started fighting a little bit? Before I got into the van, yes. Then what happened?
Yeah, you started fighting. Bro, you supposed to have been fighting before you got to the van. He told they wrestled him into the van. Nah, you supposed to be fighting that. Once you seen that van, they talking about walk across the street, and you seen that van, I'm fighting right then. It's a wrap. Y'all gonna have to shoot, fight, do something. Facts. Where's that knife that you stabbed the other dude with? Facts. They caught him slipping coming out that strip club.
And you said there was a guy holding a machine gun, is that right? Yes. Could you describe that gun? It was like this big black with wood on it, wood grip. About 2 feet? Yeah, it was like an AK-47. And for the record, you had about 2 feet up. Was that the length of it, you said? Yeah, about this big. Once you were in the van, you said you started fighting a little bit? Before I got into the van, yes. Then what happened? They all wrestled me into the van. What happened inside the van? They duct taped me and put me on the floor. When they duct taped you, what did they duct tape? Excuse me? What part of your body did they duct tape? My hands and my feet, and then they later duct taped my eyes up? Were your hands in front of you or behind you? I think they were in front of me. Now, once you were in the van and you were duct taped, is that when they put the duct tape on your eyes, you said? Yeah, they put me in supine and then was asking me questions, and then they duct taped my eyes. What types of questions were they asking you?
He said they put him in supine. I don't know. What is that? Could somebody put in the comments what supine is? I don't even know what that is. I don't know. I never heard that word before. They put me in supine and then asked them some questions.
Yeah, they put me in supine and then was asking me questions, and then they duct taped my eyes. What types of questions were they asking you? That they wanted $250,000 and I had to take them to where the money was at? Did you notice any other vehicles in the area at the time? Not at the time, but later, yes. Where is that? We stopped somewhere and another car pulled up and somebody jumped into the van. And the person that jumped in the van was on the phone talking to someone. And they were saying, listen, we know you got the money. We know you got the money. And then they decided to take me to my sister's house. When he got out the van, went back into the other car and drove me to my sister's house. Then I informed them my sister worked for the police. And that's when they got angry, put me back in the van, took me to Brooklyn. I don't know it was Brooklyn until later, though.
Wow. Definitely inside job because they already know where his sister lived. He said they decided to take me to my sister's house. They drove me to my sister's house. Wow. Definitely inside.
Back in the van, took me to Brooklyn. I don't know it was Brooklyn until later, though. Let me stop you there. You said another person entered the van and was on the phone. Is that right? Yes. Did you hear what, if anything, that person was saying on the phone? He was talking to somebody on the phone saying, listen, we got him. And he's saying he doesn't have the money. And I guess the other person was telling him that he has the money. He has the money. And at that point, you were still in the van, right? Yes. Now, from the club, you said you went to your sister's neighborhood? Yes. Where is that? Flushing, Queens. Was that nearby? Yeah, about 10-15 minutes. What kind of neighborhood is Flushing? It's a nice neighborhood. Why did you end up at your sister's place? Because they thought the money was there. Did you direct them to your sister's place? I think they knew where it was, and I might have told them it was in Flushing. Did you tell them then that your sister works for the police department? Yes. What happened then? They got angry and threw me back in the van. Then what happened? We drove for a while and then we stopped. We stopped somewhere. It was by a highway because I know I heard the cars and they let...
Yo, dude, this is everybody's worst nightmare. I'm going to keep it funky. I'm like, because he like, then they got angry and then threw me back in the van. So now I'm visualizing this dude's eyes is duct tape, his hands, his feet. He saw an AK-47. It's like 7 of them now. He in a van. Do you know what's going through your mind right now? Like, this dude tripping. I would not. That's why I'm like, I ain't getting in nobody's van. They're going to have to shoot me right there. This is a horror story. Like, so then they trying to take him. They already knew, you hear the dude on the phone, they got the money, so you already know it's inside. They already know where his sister at, where his sister live. You already know in your head, they ain't about to let me loose. Even if I gave him the money, I'm not going free. So you got to think at this time, well, I'm going to already be dead. Like, I wouldn't have gotten that van. I wouldn't have gotten that van. I'm thankful I ain't have to. I've been in some situations, but I never got kidnapped. I'm thankful for that.
I bet your sister...
And I ain't got no money now, so don't nobody think about kidnapping me now. I ain't even got no money. They don't even, my other YouTube channel ain't even, it's monetized, but they shadow banned me. You know what I mean? So, and yeah, I'm legit. I serve, well, back then when I was living that life, you know, of course you don't want to be kidnapped, but I didn't care. But that's why I had cameras and stuff on my house and double watch my rear view and always kept a ratchet back then and always kept a knife or something, like always. I was always on swivel alert, wasn't drinking in the strip club, like you wasn't catching me out there like that. But the best of you can get caught. So I'm not trying to act like, you know, nobody could caught me out there, because I got robbed one time. So yeah, and he caught me. You know what I mean? We was inside the club, we came out. I told that story on St. Last channel, but that's the one, the Busta Rhymes story and all that. He was in Roosevelt. But all right, let's get back. This is a nightmare, guys.
Was that Flushing, Queens? Was that nearby? Yeah, about 10-15 minutes. What kind of neighborhood is Flushing? It's a nice neighborhood. Why did you end up at your sister's place? Because they thought the money was there. Did you direct them to your sister's place? I think they knew where it was, and I might have told them it was in Flushing. Did you tell them then that your sister works for the police department? Yes. What happened then? They got angry and threw me back in the van. Then what happened? We drove for a while and then we stopped. We stopped somewhere. It was by a highway because I know I heard the cars and they let me use the bathroom. And then we proceeded somewhere and then they took me out and carried me into a building. Did you know where you were at that point? No, not yet. How many people were with you at that point? I don't know. Where did you go once you got... I was blindfolded still. Where did you go once you got to that building? We went upstairs, some stairs, and then into an apartment, and they threw me in a room on a bed. At that point, how many people were there? I'm not sure. I just heard maybe like 3-4 people talking. Then what happened? About what time do you think this was? I don't know, like 2-3 hours after they got me in front of the club. You said they threw you on a bed? Yes. And were you still tied up at that point? Yes, I was duct taped. What happened next? It got quiet, and then as the night went on, the duct tape stopped sticking on my hands, and when I got one of my hands free, I lifted up the one that was over my eyes, and I seen the guy sitting in the doorway with the gun on his lap. So I seen the scissors on the floor, and I picked up the scissors and cut myself free, and I tried to leave the apartment. When I tried to leave the apartment, he had a fan blowing on him, and I bumped into a wire, and he jumped up and pulled the gun up on me.
Oh, man. Talk about bad luck. So the duct tape stopped sticking. So he got it off his hands, took it off his eyes. He freed himself from the tape. He seen the dude sitting there with the gun on his lap, and he tried to sneak out the apartment. And when he sneaking out the apartment, his foot hit a wire on the fan. Like, dude, oh man, can you imagine the tension though? Like, because I'm like, why, who wouldn't see that wire? But I don't know, you probably would miss it, right? Like trying to creep, right, guys? You're trying to creep and you're looking, because you're so busy looking at him, not trying to being as quiet as possible, and don't see the cord on the floor for the fan he got blown on him. And just, that is crazy. That's crazy. All right.
So I seen the scissors on the floor, and I picked up the scissors and cut myself free, and I tried to leave the apartment. When I tried to leave the apartment, he had a fan blowing on him, and I bumped into a wire, and he jumped up and pulled the gun up on me. And when he pulled the gun up on me, I put it under my armpit, and me and him wrestled for the gun for about half an hour to an hour through this apartment. When I dragged him to the door, I got the door open, and I seen a name.
Whoa. Y'all fought for a half an hour to an hour through that must have been a hell of a fight. But I guess when you fighting for your life, he probably exaggerating. It's probably like, because fights are horrible. Like 5 minutes feel like a half an hour. So that's a long time. That would feel like 10 hours fighting you can't really fight for a half an hour to an hour. Hey, y'all both be on the floor breathing like, you know, they ain't training for boxing and all that. So it's probably an exaggeration, you know what I mean? Because when you're in the moment, that fight feel like a half an hour. But that's crazy. He hit the thing and woke him up, and then the dude jumped up and pulled the gun. He said he put it under his armpit, and then they start fighting. You know you fighting for your life. Let's see.
The apartment, he had a fan blowing on him, and I bumped into a wire, and he jumped up and pulled the gun up on me. And when he pulled the gun up on me, I put it under my armpit, and me and him wrestled for the gun for about half an hour to an hour through this apartment. When I dragged him to the door, I got the door open, and I seen a neighbor and told the neighbor if they could call the cops for me. What happened then? His associate came, and they wrestled me back down and hogtied me in the bedroom. And then like 10 minutes later, the cops kicked the door in and rescued me.
This dude fought the dude and got him to the hallway and happened to see a neighbor and told the neighbor call the cops, and the neighbor did. Then they took him back in and hogtied him, and then the cops kicked the door in he is a lucky dude. Let's see what's going on.
Associate came, and they wrestled me back down and hogtied me in the bedroom. And then like 10 minutes later, the cops kicked the door in and rescued me. So, Mr. SAKOOR, I just want to clarify here, Government Exhibit 38, Sean, did you see him at all the night you were kidnapped? No. Showing you Government Exhibit 33, do you recognize this person? This has been entered into evidence? He looks familiar, but not off the top of my head right now.
That's what I was thinking. The dude Sean lined him up. The dude he met from jail. The dude who asked him could he buy some that heroin, hook him up for a friend. They was lining him up with that. That was the lineup. Man, dude, y'all guys, first of all, don't be doing no crime. But if y'all find yourselves in jail and all that, be careful who you talk to and who you let you know your business because you met them in jail. You know what I mean? You're thinking that you know them, but you know what I mean? They could be lining you up when you come home, thinking that you letting them know, I'm doing it. I'm killing them in Queens, or I'm killing them in Strong Island. I'm killing them in Staten Island. I got this spot in the Bronx. We killing them. Or you from Brooklyn, you meet a dude from the Bronx or from Strong Island. You're like, yo, I'm killing him out in Brooklyn. And he buttering you up like he your man and everything, but he really just greasing you up. You know what I mean? And then you get home, and then he run the okey doke on you. Yo, my man, you on? Yeah, yo, hook me up. I got, I want to get something, everything. And he just lying to you. Facts. That's exactly what this is. That's what happened. It's no joke. That's why the game ain't nothing to be played with.
Kidnapped? No. Showing you government you were and that dog tied me in the bedroom, and then like 10 minutes later, the cops kicked the door in and rescued me. So, Mr. SAKOOR, I just want to clarify here, Government Exhibit 38, Sean, did you see him at all the night you were kidnapped? No. Showing you Government Exhibit 33, do you recognize this person? This has been entered into evidence? He looks familiar, but not off the top of my head right now. I'm going to show you what's also been entered into evidence as Government Exhibit 900G. Do you recognize that photo? Yeah, that's the apartment. Is that the bed that you said that they threw you on? Yes. So to back up, you said at some point the duct tape wasn't sticking anymore? Yeah, it was hot in this apartment. Do you remember when? July 11th. At that point, when you were able to see who was left in the apartment, was there more than one person? I couldn't see behind him. I could just see him in the doorway. And you said there was a gun on his lap, is that right? Yes. I'm going to show you what's been entered as Government Exhibit 903A, which has not yet been entered as of yet. I'm going to show you Government Exhibit 903A. Do you recognize this photo? Yeah, that's the machine gun. The government moves to admit 903A into evidence at this time. All right, no objection? In evidence. Now that the jury can see it, can you tell us what that is?
Oh, they got the gun? How they get the gun?
That's the gun that the guy had in the back seat, and he also had it in his lap when I got free. You say you started wrestling him, is that right? Yes. At that point, was it him by himself or someone else was able to? No, first it was just me and him, and I took him in every direction in the apartment until I found the door. Then what happened? I opened the door and one of the neighbors was coming up.
I know that'll happen. He said I took him in every direction in the apartment till he's probably dragging old boy. You know why? Because when you're fighting for your life, he probably had that Superman strength for real, for real. Like for real. He said I dragged him on every direction in the apartment till I found the door. I know that's right.
Or someone else was able to. No, first it was just me and him, and I took him in every direction in the apartment until I found the door. Then what happened? I opened the door and one of the neighbors was coming up. He already said that. What else you want to ask? Tell us what happened after the police officers arrived. They cut me free and they took me to the precinct. And did you tell the police at that time what had happened? Yes. Did you tell the police that you were involved in selling drugs at that time? No. Did you learn where you were being held that day on July 11th, 2002? Yeah, when they came out, yeah. Where were you? In Brooklyn. And as a part of talking with the police, did you view photo arrays? Yes.
He was in Lafayette Gardens, LG. This is the case against Damien, World, Hardy, y'all know World and CMB. They had this boy kidnapped up there in a hot apartment in July in New York and Brooklyn. Hot. That's what had saved him. If it would have been wintertime, he'd have been turkey meat. You know why? Because that tape wouldn't have been sweaty and hot where you could have got that tape off. They was definitely going to leave him. He was definitely getting left.
No. Did you learn where you were being held that day on July 11th, 2002? Yeah, when they came out, yeah. Where were you? In Brooklyn. And as a part of talking with the police, did you view photo arrays? Yes. I'm going to show you what hasn't been entered yet. This will be Government Exhibit 904. Do you view more than one photo array, Mr. SAKOOR? Yes. I'm going to show you this. Do you see that on your screen? Yes. Do you recognize this? Not really. Do you recognize your signature there? Yes, I recognize my signature. Is this one of the photo arrays that you were shown on July 21st of 2002? Yes. Did you pick out anybody at these arrays at all? Did you identify anybody? Yes. So who did you identify? Go ahead. Your Honor, the government moves to admit Government Exhibit 904. 904 in evidence. And now that the jury can see, can you tell us who you identified in this photo array? Which number? Number 6. That's this gentleman, is that right? Yes. Is that right, Mr. SAKOOR? Yes. Can you identify him as one of the people whom you saw that night? In the van, yes. In the van, one of the people in the van? Yes. And you mentioned that there was the van and another car. Did you see any females? There was a female voice in the other car, yeah. I never got to see her. Did you see Sean after this incident at all? One time at parole. I have nothing further. Thank you.
So that was the first part. We're going to get to the second part of this story of this Sankofa dude, whatever, that got kidnapped by CMB. This is when they were at their prime. He's blessed. I hope he's thanking the Most High for saving him, because he was not making out of that apartment. They was definitely going to leave him. So this is the stories of the CMB, the whole testimony of all these people snitching and telling on one another. Now these are these drug dealers, thug, gang, killers. You're going to even hear some testimonies of some killers, like literally killing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, but they in here snitching. That part makes no sense to me. I'm like, I can't understand that. My receptors don't receive that. How you be so extra gang, thug, but then you got caught and you telling? Like the muscle man in the crew, in World's crew, Thor, knockout artist, nicknamed Thor, so y'all already know, but he's snitching. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I come from a thing, you do the crime, you do the time. I mean, that's it. Like World is doing his time, and eBay and them is doing their time. But yeah, we're gonna have all the stories, we're gonna have all the court testimonies, and we're gonna do our reaction to it. And I'll be able to tell you a little bit of the stories, and some of them that I was around, some of them. I got a story about Lafayette Gardens, driving through the area. And this is back when I had the Fendi Audi. Yeah, they almost caught me. And luckily, I guess it's all praise the Most High, but I had a ratchet, but they had to drop on me. But it was just, I'm gonna say the story I'm gonna tell the story on here. Another one down, Uncle Yahshua, 25 to Life Testimony TV, our new series, Courtroom Crime Series. This is 25 to Life with Uncle Yahshua. You wanna know why they call me Lucky Lucha? They call me
with you cause I like to tuck that choo-chie. All the time on the grind, getting that doo-chie.
This is a little story on 25 to Life with Uncle Yashua. Like and subscribe for more incredible stories every week.
Police are on the scene of a triple homicide on Long Island. It happened overnight at a home in Hempstead.
I'm from Hempstead, Parkside, the ghetto, the dog side.